How would you describe work hard, play hard in a professional way?
We take our job seriously, we trust our employees, and we value time off.
Ooh, that's really good. In the job description, it could say, we run a lean organization.
You're understaffed.
There's 5 people at the company.
Welcome to Job Search Stories. I'm Jen, a career coach and your new go-to gal for all things career advice.
And I'm Gina, and together we're just going to help you navigate this crazy world of job searching, and hopefully we might just help you get your next job.
Yeah, and we will do that because today we are going to be decoding some common phrases that you might see in job descriptions so you don't have to.
And it's just going to be a ton of buzzwords and jargon. It's not that I don't read job descriptions. Like, I know that they're useful. I'm a skimmer. I look for like I just said, the buzzwords, like the words that I'm like, oh, like that's similar to what I do, because I have a very specialized skill set and like specialized job, essentially.
So what are some of the buzzwords that you're looking for? Are you talking about like specific skills and requirements?
Yeah. So I would say like definitely the skills or like the programs that you need to know how to like master.
Yeah.
Just those like common like things that are competencies of a job like the one that I do.
Okay.
Yeah, those core competencies, making sure that that matches up for me, because I think I mentioned this in another episode. I have gone down a hole of having interviews or applying for jobs that I am not qualified for.
Right. Okay.
Never want to live like that again. I only apply for jobs where I feel like I'm qualified. So skimming helps me do that. And that's just how I do it.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like you're finding at least maybe half of the information that you should be finding from a job description, which is around the role and what would be needed to be successful in the role.
Yeah.
But it kind of sounds like you're missing all of that information where the company describes who they are and what type of environment it might be.
That's like a big block of text in the beginning. And I'm like, scroll.
A lot of words.
Yeah. But sometimes they're like saying like the name of like their larger brand and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't need to know any of that.
Sometimes you do.
Well, I don't agree, but.
Well, let's jump into that. Let's talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah.
I want to flip this around. You're so good at asking me questions.
I know.
I want to ask you questions.
Ask me some cues.
I want to talk through some common phrases, and I want to hear what you think it means when a job description says this.
Okay.
All right, let's start. Fast-paced environment.
Go, go, go. Can't even sleep. Every day, you're thinking about your job when you wake up in the morning. You're thinking about it before you go to bed at night.
Work don't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. That's how I think that like that is triggering.
Is that a red flag to you?
I think it's kind of a red flag because I sometimes think that employers are saying that because they're like, oh, like your whole life is about to become work if you work here.
Yeah, it's almost like a justification for having you work really late hours and calling you at like 8 o'clock at night when you're supposed to be working like 9 to 5.
I ain't no brain surgeon. Nothing needs to be fast paced.
You ain't working on call?
No. I don't think anything needs to be that fast-paced in the job that I do.
Right. Okay. So in the job that you do, there are situations, right, where a fast-paced environment really does mean it's busy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're working in a really popular store.
Yeah.
Maybe you're being hired for seasonal work and it's going to be pretty nonstop
at Christmas
while you're
time
there.
Rush. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I see that, I might expect to see that phrase maybe in something like a sales position, maybe customer service. Could even describe like certain types of like medical roles. Like if you're going to be working in
brain
trauma, ER, it's probably going to be pretty fast paced. So really describing the setting and I think setting an expectation that maybe you're not going to be sitting down a lot.
Do you feel like there are jobs where fast-paced environment should not be on the job description?
I don't know. I mean, there might be certain times of year.
A library shouldn't be a fast-paced environment.
You don't think so?
No, easy breezy.
What if you're running like an event?
Well, when that happens, fine. But that
like a day-to-day won't be a fast-paced environment.
I'm walking in, I'm stacking those books. That's it.
So if you're applying for a library role and you see fast-paced environment, you're not going to have a question of like, man, what does this mean? Maybe I'll ask somebody.
Gonna click out. Go to the next job description.
Lady doesn't want to work in a fast-paced environment. No. You know what? Well, then good. You read the job description and you decided that was not for you.
Not for me. Next. What's the next one?
All right. flat hierarchy.
I don't even know what that means. Does that mean that everybody's just like on the same level?
Kind of.
Okay.
Well, what it means is that there is not a lot of middle management.
Okay.
So when you think about the structure of an organization, there are not a lot of roles between kind of the everyday worker, like the frontline team, and like the executive, like senior leadership staff.
Yeah.
So there are some really big companies that use this type of structure. So it's really good to know that if you see that, that's probably what it means.
Okay. So not like warehouse worker, but maybe mechanic?
Maybe like tech.
Tech. Okay.
Yeah. Think tech. Think large tech companies.
Large tech companies. Okay. I mean, you learn something new every day. Maybe if I read job descriptions better, I would have known what that meant before you asked me.
Well, you're learning. This is a learning environment.
You're my teacher.
We're a safe space.
Give you another one.
Must be able to work under pressure.
See, that's a red flag. I feel like we're all just trying to get that shmoney. Why should there be pressure at work? But I mean, I guess like, you know, there's certain jobs that I've had that are around like, let's say award show season. And that's pressure time because you want to be the first to kind of like put something out there about something that's happening, something that's timely. So I could see that being something that's just like basically saying like sometimes there's going to be some things where they're thrown at you, but it's not your day to day.
Right. So signals of a high stress environment, even if it's not all the time, could just be temporary. Again, like maybe you're working in that library and you're not fast paced all the time, but sometimes you have the fire department come out and they're teaching safety. And you got all those kids coming and they want to ride on the fire truck.
And they want to check out the books about fire safety.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot going on that day.
Yeah.
You might have to work under pressure.
Okay. Well, let's just say in my future, I would love to be a librarian. I just want to put that out there.
I honestly think about this all the time.
Yeah.
When I'm like, oh, maybe today is a high stress and I'm working under pressure today.
Yeah.
Can I just go work in a library?
I used to do that. I used to like, this was like pre-pandemic, but I used to like work in a library.
Do you know they're like highly qualified? They're basically, they are legit researchers.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have like doctorates.
Yep. My sister was going to be a librarian.
I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
Might be required to work overtime or weekends.
You don't respect my time. No. Like that comes with certain jobs. Like you're saying, library. Maybe they're clearing out all the books. They're going to have a gala on the weekend and they need the librarians there to make sure the books are okay.
Yeah. I think if you see that in a job description, I would say, like, thanks for telling me now.
Yeah.
It's worse when you get in a role and you think you're not going to be working.
Yeah.
Nights and weekends, and then you find out, oh no, that's required of me.
I've literally had a job where like in the interview, me and the interviewer were flowing. Hiring manager is like, yes, I think you're perfect for this role. It's real easy breezy. After like a couple months, it was not easy breezy. It was like getting pings on the weekend and asking me to do things after hours. And I was like, I think you should have put this in the job description if that was your expectation.
Maybe that's some notes.
I'll send them.
Did you give him that feedback?
No, I just ran away.
Gotta help him be better.
That's not my job.
Didn't come up in an exit interview?
Ooh, we should talk about that later episode.
Okay, we're going later.
I'm not good at exit interviews.
Yeah, I would say if you see this in a job description, I think it's pretty, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. The one thing that I would say you might want to question them on is if they say may or sometimes, if it's like a little bit murky of how often you would have to do it. Yeah. Like that's a really great question to ask during the interview.
I like in job descriptions when they put like a percentage next to that.
Oh, you see that a lot with travel. Yeah. Like requires 20% travel.
Yeah. And I think like there's been some job descriptions that I skimmed that had like, my work, weekends are overtime, and it would be like 40% of the time. And I'm like, thank you for letting me know. That's very specific.
That's good. Like, not good at percentage to be working nights and weekends unless it fits in your schedule. But
if you're using the word might,
good to have.
It shouldn't be high, I feel like. Yeah. If I saw like it said might require that and then it was like 90% of the time, I'm like, so it will. It does require it. Yeah. So I think it's a red flag, like you're saying, if it's like super vague.
Yeah. And that's where you want that clarification for sure.
Yeah. Give me some more.
Looking for a self-starter.
So I know what it means. I don't agree with it. See, I'm going to be the negative Nancy in this episode because I feel like that's basically someone saying, I don't want to train you. I don't want to teach you how to do anything. You just have to figure it all out yourself. And I feel like, yes, I'm a career girly, but I'm not there yet where I can just like start things by myself without clear instructions.
Yeah. I don't know that that's immediately implied.
I'm a negative Nancy.
But I would say it's an indication that you're going to need to be proactive. Right? Like you're going to have some level of self-motivation. You're going to need to be able to be comfortable asking questions, asking for help because, you know, maybe there's just not enough support staff to be able to do that for you. Maybe you're not going to have the kind of full level of management that you might need. I've seen this phrase a lot when looking at job descriptions for startups.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, I mean, you might have some structure there, but a lot of it, they're looking to hire self-motivated people. They're looking to hire like people that are just willing to do and like go and bring in their ideas and really contribute.
I think I definitely applied for a job, got a job where that was on the job description, self-starter. And it was almost kind of annoying, I'm not going to lie, because I would be meeting with my manager, you know, once a week.
Yes.
And they'd be like, hey, like, what's up? And I'm like, aren't you going to tell me like
what to
do? And I would just like rattle through like the things that I'm working on. They're like, great work. And I'm like, okay.
You're like, am I doing the right thing?
Like, I need that reassurance. So I don't know if I saw that, I don't know if that would be good for me.
I think that's a whole other conversation, which is like how you need to conduct one-on-ones and how you should be having conversations with your manager.
I don't think that should be on me, but
I think
fine.
It's a future episode.
We can talk about that in another episode.
I think it's a little bit on all of us.
Yeah. I'm not a real adult. Anyways, give me another one.
Flexible schedule.
Music to my ears. I think, especially in the world that we're in now, flexible schedule could mean a plethora of things. It could mean you're going to be able to work remotely. It could mean that you're going to be able to set your own hours as long as that works with, you know, whoever you're working with directly. I think it just means like that there's just more freedom kind of as long as you're getting your work done.
Yeah, I would say we like this, right? We like to see a flexible schedule.
I think in this day and age, like that should be a requirement for all jobs.
For sure.
I think that we know that we can get work done in many environments. A lot of people can get their done, especially working from home, like get their work done in like an hour or two.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure anybody who's ever worked a 9 to 5 knows that it's really hard to schedule a doctor's appointment like during working hours, right?
Because their working hours are my working hours.
Exactly, right? So having that flexibility to, drop your kid off at school if you have one, pick them up, and then go back to work.
Take my dog to the vet.
Take your dog to the vet.
I will not call him my child because I really hate when people say that because...
Your loved one?
My loved one.
Yeah.
My little puppy.
They have needs too.
They do. And I have needs. Like, get my nails done.
During working hours?
No.
Flexible schedule.
I never get my nails done during working hours.
Okay. Wearing multiple hats.
I think this is it's not a green, it's not a red, it's yellow. Yellow flag.
Yellow flag.
Because it could mean multiple things. I think in the job description, it obviously means one thing, but when you're at the actual job, it can mean something completely different. But wearing multiple hats to me means that you may need to like dip into all your different skills.
Yeah.
They're definitely looking for someone with a diverse skill set for this because they could help on different projects. They could help different team members. I think this is a green flag if you're looking for like a manager role because they definitely want somebody who can understand kind of all their like direct reports, workflows. But sometimes that could mean that you're doing a bunch of different jobs that wasn't really listed in the job description. And that sometimes can be murky waters.
Yeah, I think there's a few situations where it could be really positive. I think if you're entry level, just starting out, either in a new role, new company, new industry, it's nice to be able to try out all of the things, especially if you're not necessarily sure what you want to do or what you could be good at. It's the opportunity for you to really try a lot of different things. Definitely see this again in startup environments because you're kind of running on a skeleton crew at the beginning. And so
trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, you got to do all the things sometimes.
Yeah.
Also see it in nonprofits, right? You might have to, a role for a communications manager might mean you're doing all the PR, you're doing the social media, you're doing event planning and fundraising, right? So you really are doing all of the things.
That sounds fun.
You think so?
Yeah, I've done all those things. So I feel like that would be a job for me.
Okay. Well, I think we're
Send me some job descriptions.
I think we're really helping you find what your next role might be if it's not going to be here with me.
Help me find my next move. If you're watching this or if you're listening to this.
In the nonprofit world.
Send me some job descriptions.
You can
send me some jobs so that I can figure out my next move.
We're going to turn off the comment section, I think. Last one. Move the needle.
I don't even know what that means, but maybe that. No. Wait, I do. You're not
it's because
smart.
You're not reading job descriptions.
Because I have never seen these phrases ever in my life. I'm kidding. Move the needle probably means like they want you to make some impact.
Yes.
They're looking for someone who can really help them. I could see this with startups. They're like, hey, we have the idea. We need the doer. We need the person who's really going to set us up for success and move that needle.
Yeah, I could see it in sales too, right? Yeah. I think you said a really key word, which is impact.
Impact.
It's a good one. Yeah. But that's exactly what I would think of when I see this. I've read a lot of job descriptions in my day when I was working at the university. Anytime an employer wanted to hire one of our students and they wanted to recruit through our school, they could post their job opportunities onto our hiring platform. And that's what we would use to kind of like send out stuff to the students.
Yeah.
And so every single job posting that was submitted, either myself or my staff had to review and approve to see if it was suitable.
Ooh.
And so I've seen many of these phrases and some more that we're going to dig into.
So you were like, don't like that.
I was a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you don't want to pay these students for work?
Gaslight.
And they can't get academic credit?
Yeah.
Guess what? It's not an internship.
Yeah.
Denied.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there probably needed to be some better vetting at my university. They needed a you.
They needed a me.
Because there were some internships where I was like, this sounds like a full-time position. Like with no money. Crazy. Okay, so I think that like we kind of touched upon this, but red flags.
Yeah.
Like common red flags. And maybe these aren't red flags that listeners would recognize.
Okay.
Because it sounds so good and they're packaging it and they're like, ooh, like we're
Too good to be true.
We're going to get some people in with this.
Okay.
Especially I think people who are like maybe just graduating. They don't know. They don't know that these are not things that you want from a future employer. So can I give you some?
Yeah. Let's flip the script.
Yeah, let's flip it. I want to give you some red flags. So I feel like we're like a family is a big red flag. What do you think?
Yeah, that to me says there's no internal HR. That's what I hear.
She said
That's what I hear. I hear maybe it's a small business and I don't know. I feel like when you hear that, it's a situation where like we'll joke around and like we, make
inappropriate jokes and don't make you feel comfortable.
For other people and we're all helping each other out and it's like, I don't want you to talk to me like you talk to your family.
I have a family.
I want some boundaries.
I don't need you.
Yeah.
No. I agree. I think there's definitely been some employers that I've had that like, I'm not calling anybody out, but like some big brands. And I feel like there was just not a lot of like professionalism, even though there was even HR. It was kind of just like, like we have to kind of have that distance because we're all just trying to get our work done.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be talking to each other like this.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's really interesting too, is because even though at a high level, like a company like is very professional and they may like have really strong HR departments within them, it's so different at the department level sometimes, And so, if you see that, I'd say think about what it means to you.
And I've had
think about how you interact with your family.
Right. And I've had some friends who have told me about like the We Are Family work environment they worked in. And I was like, ooh, that doesn't sound good. Like, I think you actually should reevaluate yourself as a person if you think that's okay. But anyways, I got some more.
Okay, let's go.
Work hard, play hard.
You're going to be working a lot. You're going to be working a lot. I don't know. This one is it gives me a little bit of ick to hear.
Yeah.
It does to me sound like you're going to be working a lot. The play hard portion is like, what does that mean?
Happy hours every single day.
Happy hours. HR violations.
Yeah.
This is
HR is there. HR is there doing a keg stand.
Not there.
Yeah.
HR is not there.
Sally from HR is there doing a keg stand. They're playing hard at the end of the day.
Everybody is working hard and playing hard.
Yeah. Everybody at the company. I don't know if it's like a super red flag for me. I think it's just not something that you should put in a job description. I think it's like something that can be discussed later on. Like, we do work hard, but we like to have fun with our employees and we like to set up like activity nights or, things like that. Like, I don't think it should be in a job description because to me, it just seems like
there's a better way to describe the message you're trying to deliver.
How would you describe work hard, play hard in a professional way in a job description?
Like, we take our job seriously, we trust our employees, and we value time off.
Ooh, that was really good.
I'm going to write one.
You should write a job description.
I'm going to do some hiring.
For my job. I'm kidding. I'm staying here forever. Okay, so I think this is something that is kind of just so annoying to see in a job description. And honestly, if I control find and like put in these words and I see it in a job description, I'm out. So if you see things that are like buzzwords like rock star, superstar, strategy ninja, guru, social media guru. What do you think of that?
I mean, they're trying to be creative, right?
There's no place for that.
They're trying to be creative. They're trying to be creative and using words that are very overused and end up being not creative at all. Right?
And also, it's like, what does that mean? What does it mean to be a social media guru?
You're great at what you do.
Yeah.
You're a subject matter expert.
Yeah. I think that things like that, like you could literally just say that instead. Subject matter expert.
Right. So I think we're fixing job descriptions right now.
I think we can give some things that are alternatives to those because someone listening out there could be in the middle of writing a job description.
They're writing your new job description.
And they wrote rock star and we're going to tell them to not do that. And
Put
they can
subject
write something.
matter expert.
Yeah. Okay, so here's another one. And me being a picture of youth, I don't know if this one's a red flag. So you tell me if you think it is. Young, dynamic environment.
I mean, I'm definitely not young anymore.
You are youthful.
I'm in a protected class because of my age. Okay? Like you need to realize that 40 is the year we could prosecute if you make fun of my age. Jenna.
Anyways, okay. I would never.
40 is a protected class.
You're 22. So
if you're telling me this is a young, dynamic environment, I mean, it could just mean that you're brand new, right? Yeah. You're starting out. Maybe you're that startup.
Yeah. But that means that like the boss is 25.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's full, like maybe it's more entry level.
Yeah.
I feel like also in this job description, you might also see that you want to disrupt the industry.
Ew.
Oh, I know we don't have that in here.
Ick.
Every time I see that, it's not for me.
I got a little chill.
You were grossed out enough.
Yeah, because I'm like, what are you disrupting?
You got the ick.
Yeah, I got the ick. Okay, that's a good one though. Like, okay, what's your alternative to young dynamic environment then?
I don't know that I have a good one for that one. Do you have one?
No. I mean,
take it out?
Yeah, I think don't put it in there.
Yeah, I just say we're still learning and growing.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. This one is bad. I think this one is a lie. So that's how it's a red flag. Unlimited income potential.
Multi-level marketing. Can we say that? I don't know.
Pyramid scheme.
Yeah. We're not going to pay you a base salary because you're going to earn commissions, which is all based off of how much you can sell.
Yeah.
So you might be going door to door.
Yeah.
You might be hitting up your friends and family, trying to build that network.
I mean, my brother... I hope he listens to this. So my younger brother, he's in college. He really needed a job. Was working at a hardware store.
Yeah.
Got fired. Won't get into why he got fired, but he was not being responsible, putting his business out there. I don't care. He then became a knife salesman and
Oh my God, I was just
selling
going to say it.
specialty knives.
Okay.
And it was like,
But I'm there. I'm with you.
And I remember when he was trying to explain this job to me, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is something that you should be doing if you're looking for extra income in college.
But he could be his own boss.
Unlimited income potential also.
Right.
So I think when you're younger, you see that and you're like, oh, I'm going to make a crap ton of money.
Right.
But I don't think that's true.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And I can't say that people haven't found success or made a lot of money doing that.
Some people are good at selling knives.
I don't know your life.
Yeah.
I don't know their lives.
My brother was not good at selling knives.
But you're going to work for it.
Yeah.
That's what I would say is you're going to work for it. And it may not be easy.
Yeah, I don't like that. Okay, so this is one is, it could, I don't know if people would feel like this is a red flag, but we'll see. In the job description, it could say, we run a lean organization.
You're understaffed.
There's 5 people at the company. Just 5.
No.
And they're all roommates.
we run a lean we run a lean organization. We all wear multiple hats.
So you're putting the good one with the not so good one.
It's like this is how you turn a green flag red.
Okay.
Or maybe yellow, right?
I think it's like maybe like an orange. I don't know. It's closer to red for sure.
I can't mix colors.
Okay.
I think actually
now?
green and red equals brown.
We're not here for color theory.
Okay.
But I think that, though, that's a red flag for sure because I mean, for some people, some people want to be in an organization that doesn't have a lot of employees because maybe like what they're doing doesn't require a lot of people. Like maybe it is just like
they want to join and be VP.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Some people want to do that. Okay, I have another story.
I want to hear.
One time, as a part of this women's empowerment organization on my campus, and it was a scam. But I was the chief marketing officer.
You went straight to CMO?
Yes, that was my job. And it was
young success story is what I'm hearing.
So I'm a boss, but it was like we run a lean organization because you're a 19-year-old and you're in charge of everything.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a little scary, but we can move on.
Did you get some good experience?
I think it's the reason why people were like, oh, she's qualified. Even though because we did put on like really cool events and stuff like that. I really hope the girl who ran the organization never listens to this because I do think she was a scammer. But I feel like it was definitely one of those things where I thought it was going to be more beneficial than it was. But it was good experience.
Okay. As long as you found some value in it.
Yeah.
How long did you stay there?
It was like most of my senior year and junior year in college. And then I got other internships and she was trying to get me to write articles about our organization and stuff like that. And I was like, no. So then I left.
Oh, at your new places?
Yeah. It was weird. Okay, we can
move
on.
Networking.
Yeah. Networking. I hate it. She liked it.
She's a natural.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about salary in job descriptions.
Oh, you love to talk about money.
I don't like to talk about money, but when I'm skimming,
facetious.
I know you were. When I'm skimming, that's something that I look for.
You look for in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one of the components that I'll skim for is money. And then all the other stuff I talked about. Right. Why do you feel like some job descriptions are providing salary and others aren't?
Well, I think that they don't because they're not required to.
Okay.
So a lot of times they'll want to wait and hear what you have to say first. Because, maybe they can get you in under budget.
That's sad. I mean, it happens.
It's not always the case.
It's business.
But that's how it is sometimes.
Yeah. Why do you think sometimes I've seen this in job descriptions that they're listing the salary for like a particular state?
Because those states have salary transparency laws. So they're required to. If I'm helping somebody prep for a role and prep for a salary negotiation, what I'll usually do is advise them to check to see if the job is posted on Glassdoor because Glassdoor always posts the range for Colorado because Colorado is one of the states that has some really great salary transparency laws.
I think New York just passed one.
New York, California, Connecticut, Rhode Island. I think Nevada is in there and Washington. There's some ones with some good ones. And there's a variety of laws. And they all kind of say similar things, but there's some caveats to them.
Right.
So for example, you might see that your state has a law around if you, they have to post the salary range. 2, they have to tell you what the salary range is if you ask for it.
Yeah.
And then the third kind of one that I commonly see is they cannot reject you from a job opportunity because you asked about salary.
I think we talked about that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not blanket across the board. And so what that means is that sometimes there's a caveat as to how many employees a company has to have before they meet that threshold to where they have to disclose that information.
Oh, so that lean organization might not have to.
They may not have to. But actually, some of the laws basically say if you have one employee, then you have to disclose it. So, you just have to really check your local, check your state and see what the laws are. But a lot of states have some, they're not as strict as those. But I think last time I looked, there was 20 plus states that had some form of salary transparency law.
Right. I mean, want to get that shmoney. I think that there's something that I have seen where I was super turned off from a job description. And I was like, I'm not applying for the job. The range was insane.
Was it wild?
It was like $20K to $150K. And I'm like, there's
some options.
I get to pick? I get to pick okay, I'll take $20K. You know what I mean?
Going for the $20K.
Do I have to do less work if I go for the $20K?
No, you're going to do it all.
Yeah.
You're going to do it all regardless.
Is that a red flag? Is that a bad sign?
So there's a couple of ways in which you might see this.
Yeah.
One, it could be that the company is hosted in a state where they're required to share a range.
But that's a rude range.
It's a rude range, but they're meeting the requirements of the law. Right?
So I think that's a red flag. They are a red flag.
It could be, but how would you know? Right? I guess if you see that big range.
If you see it,
If you see the big range.
Yeah.
Another situation in which you could see it is if they're on a job site where salary transparency is important to the job site, but the company has not filled in that information. So the salary that's listed is an estimate based off of real data around
they're just guesstimating.
Roles, similar roles in similar areas. And what do those jobs pay?
So sometimes that wide range isn't necessarily the employer. It's literally that site that's just kind of trying to help you out.
They're trying to help you out.
Yeah.
And usually it'll say if it's an estimate.
Okay,
for sure.
That's good. Yeah.
And it will usually say if it's based off of another state's data, like Colorado, for example. So you can look for that kind of qualifying information in there.
Okay. I feel like that gives a good reason why a company. I mean, I think the first reason you gave isn't a good enough reason, but
you didn't like it?
No, but I think the auto generating type of thing with a website and just being this is what we've got. We're giving you the information we have is good. But I think another way to kind of mitigate that is to use the salary tool on Indeed.
For sure.
And is to kind of just look up that role and see what is being reported for that.
Yeah, definitely look and see what's been reported. But again, salary is not black and white.
Yep.
Just because you're a marketing manager does not mean that if you look for a marketing manager role at a company, you should be making X amount of money.
Yeah.
There really are so many variables. Salary is so personal.
Yeah.
And so you really need to take in all of the things, looking at other job postings, looking at the Indeed salary calculator, taking consideration your years of experience and skills and what the cost of living is in a particular area.
Yeah.
And then all of the other benefits as well that a job could offer. So yeah, you just got to look at all the things. You got to be well informed.
Do your due diligence. Skim those job descriptions the way I do.
Look for the important pieces of information.
Money. So what happens? I'm looking at that job description and it's $20K to $140K. What if I feel like I'm more at the lower end or the higher end? What do I do? Do I still apply? Or am I just because I'm a skimmer.
Right.
If I see that, I'm kind of I'm not going to apply because it's too vague for my liking.
Is it a job that you want?
I want that job.
Then why would you not apply?
Because I feel like I am putting in
But your salary is in the range.
But I feel like the employer didn't put in the effort that I needed. And I think it's a two-way street.
Is it not then just worth applying and having that call with the recruiter and then asking the question?
Okay.
Do you want the job or not?
Stop questioning me. I get it.
I'm getting really aggressive. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I just really want you to get that job, Gina.
Okay.
I don't want you to, I don't want you to hold yourself back.
Yeah.
Just because of one piece of information on the job description.
Okay. Thanks for being my cheerleader.
As you're looking for your next job, what are some green flags that you look for?
I wrote them down.
Okay.
So I think that there are some green flags that for me would tell me that this role is right for me.
Okay. What's Gina looking for?
So I saw this in a job description and I thought I was like, boom, like this is beautiful. So it says, you work best in a team that champions clear communication. I love clear communication. Like I said, I don't like when things are vague. I don't like when I don't know what to do with my day-to-day.
Okay.
So I love when all the people on my team are collaborating and communicating our needs. I think that's a green flag for almost anyone because if there's clear communication, then like the job can be done every single day and not feel like it's a puzzle.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good thing to call out. And especially working in a team environment because you work really closely together and sometimes it gets murky.
Yeah.
Like you don't know where your like lane ends and where their begins. But if you know that you're coming into an organization that like fosters that type of communication, that's a place I might want to be.
And like, you know us, we're little remote girlies. Sometimes we work from home. And I think that like sometimes when you're not in someone's face, it's hard to like communicate your needs and stuff like that. So I need people who are like clear communicators over chat. People who are clear communicators on the phone. Like I need people who just like their communication skills are on lock. So I think if you're like me and you like that too, that's a green flag in a job description.
Do you think it's like really aggressive to ping people you don't know?
I mean, I don't like talking to anybody I don't know. So it's not aggressive. It just makes me uncomfortable. But I think if you're going to, and this is, are we giving tips on how to communicate?
No, it's just what I thought
of. Well, my tips for communicating with someone you don't know at work is to start it off with a nice little intro. Just be like, hi, I'm so-and-so. This is what I do.
Yep.
And if it's like someone else told you to communicate with them, you can be like, my manager or my person, like told me to reach out to you for this. Then you say what you need or say what your spiel is. Or maybe sometimes you leave the space for them to then answer. I love saying, it's nice to meet you because we're not really meeting. And then leave them space to answer. And then you say, well, I wanted to talk about this.
I think e-meet is such a weird word.
Why are you hating on me right now?
It's not you. It's the word.
Well, I say it a lot, so
let's get back to. I took us on a tangent.
This is helpful advice, but you give me a green flag. You give me one.
I want to know what you were looking for, though.
Okay, I have more.
Yeah, tell me more.
So I like when it has like very detailed and specific responsibilities.
Right.
Like you know what this role entails. Because one, I think that helps you when you're applying because kind of like what we talked about in previous episodes, like you want to relate your resume and in the interview, you want to relate all your answers to the job description. So like if it's as detailed as possible, then you have the chance to really sell yourself and know if you are a good fit for the role.
I agree.
Yeah.
More information, the better.
Yeah.
I like to see like with that detail, like a schedule or working hours.
Yeah.
Kind of like we talked about earlier. Let me know if it's weekends. Let me know if there's travel.
Just say it.
Yeah. Just
Why
put
are you
it in
beating
there.
around the bush?
Let me know what I'm expecting. Let me know what I'm in for.
Applying for jobs, looking for jobs, it's like dating. I need to know who you are up front. And I think employers, if they're detailed and specific, then I know like, let's get into this relationship.
Yeah. I like benefits too.
Yeah. Let me know. Also, I would love to know, like benefits that are like kind of perks, like more perks. I like learning about the perks, like free gym membership for...
You like that?
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like that's important. You should let people know.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the free food.
Yeah, me too.
I do enjoy free food.
Nice little cafeteria food. Yeah, I think like letting people know what the benefits are and the perks of working here, I think that's like a replacement for the family environment.
Yeah.
I think that's a better thing to put on there to be like, hey, like we care about our employees. Here are the things that we do for them.
Yeah.
To make work just a little bit easier.
Although I have talked to some people who see perks like having the on-site gym as, it's because you're going to be there all the time.
No.
You're going to be working all the time.
Okay.
You're not even going to be able to leave and eat.
You know what I say to those people?
What do you say?
Grow up. Because
Gina!
That is not, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm saying a lot of your life is going to be spent working. It's just the truth. So if you're at work 9 to 5, not everybody works a 9 to 5, but if you're working 9 to 5, maybe you want to go to the gym before you get home, eat your dinner, stuff like that. It's right there.
Yeah, I don't. I used to use the gym at work.
Yeah.
But I'm a early, I can't eat before I work out because I'll vomit.
Stop talking about vomit.
I can't eat before I work out because I'll get sick.
Yeah.
So I would use it. We used to have like boot camps there.
Yeah.
But then I would spend the rest of the day
vomiting
at my desk smelling. Like, that's
take a
not
shower.
Good. Okay, I did take a shower once, but I have like really sensitive skin and they use some really high grade detergent and I legit broke out in hives.
Bring your own stuff.
Oh, I should do that.
Yeah. You're grown up.
I just work out somewhere else now.
That's okay. But I think that's still a benefit for some people. So
they might like
all in all, I think benefits, perks, let people know so that they can feel like, you know, they have some things to look forward to and not just sitting at a desk, typing away or whatever you do in your day to day.
Yeah. What do you think about unlimited PTO?
It's fun. I mean, I love it.
Green flag? You like it?
I think it's a green flag, but I think that people should explicitly, that's a question that people should talk about in an interview. Because I think that there's some companies that maybe list it because I know some companies have open PTO.
Right.
So it's not unlimited. It really is just like you can take it, but within reason. So I think with unlimited, I think that, you know, a question you can even ask a hiring manager is like, how do you feel about the unlimited PTO policy?
Or what's the average
do
amount
you take
of PTO
exactly
that people take?
How much PTO did you take last year? You know?
Exactly. There was a study that was done because unlimited PTO has really become a thing that a lot of companies are, you know, putting on job descriptions. You know, they want to see it as like a perk and a benefit, right? But yeah, there was a study that was done in 2018 that basically said people in jobs that have unlimited PTO are taking less time off than people that have a designated, like allotted time. Or
not like me.
When they have unlimited PTO, they're working on their PTO. They're working on holidays.
I would say to those people, they need to work on their boundaries.
Set boundaries, for sure.
Set boundaries. Your employer is not your BFF. Maybe you like your employer, but they don't care about your family vacation as much as you do. You better set those boundaries.
Don't ruin the memories by stepping out and taking that 30-minute phone call.
Enjoy that amusement park. Like, have a good time.
Enjoy the Sundays.
Yeah.
Enjoy that funnel cake.
So I think that like for people who feel pressure with unlimited PTO, they should think to themselves, like, one thing that I do is I like to look at the calendar and I'm like, these are dates that I would love to take PTO. And that's adulting, I think, is like setting up your time for yourself. Obviously, if you're feeling burnt out, you shouldn't feel like you have to wait until that set date.
Yeah.
But I think that you should set yourself up for success. And if, you know, you have to look at each quarter and be like, hey, I want to take PTO 7 days that quarter. Maybe spread it out. Maybe do a full 7 days. The world is your oyster.
Yeah. What do you think? I really like to see training and development programs listed.
Yeah.
I want to grow.
Yeah.
I want to work for a company that's going to help me grow.
Yep. That's a green flag in a job description and in an interview.
For sure.
If you feel like they tell you like, hey, we want you to grow.
That's a good thing to ask too.
Yeah.
Man, especially if you're like considering going back to school and you see like tuition reimbursement programs.
Oh, yeah.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
Definitely ask more questions about those because usually there's like a little bit of line items like you've got to stay with the company for a number of years or it's got to be a degree that is directly related to the company or something that will help the company grow.
Yeah. But
I'm like, I'll stick around for a year.
Help them help
grow.
you. Yeah.
We're going to help each other.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I mean, I don't take those opportunities as much as I should to train and develop because I'm perfect. And I'm already good at what I do.
She's grown.
Yeah.
She's already grown.
I've reached my threshold of growth. But how do you feel about company-wide breaks? I had one of those at one of my previous jobs, and it was amazing. Like, everybody's off. Nobody works during that time. It was a summer break.
I mean, I've had, like, company holidays before where they're, like, certain days of the week or, like, you know, around certain times of year.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to work.
Green flag?
Yeah, for sure. I want to know that there are days coming up where I'm not going to have to work. And also that they don't count towards vacation time.
Yeah.
Like those are just bonus days.
Yeah.
That's definitely a green flag.
Yeah. And I even had like it was like a company-wide break and everyone took in the summer. But my manager was like, if you want to take in the summer, don't take in the summer. Those days, they don't count as your PTO. And I was like, ooh, this is a good company. Yeah, I loved it. But all in all, I think job descriptions, not so scary. I'll start reading them now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a skimmer anymore. You're telling me all the benefits. So
oh my gosh.
You changed my mind.
Converted you.
Yeah. To a believer in job descriptions.
I feel like I've really done work today.
It's my favorite time of the episode where we take a question from a viewer. And Tracy asks, I find job descriptions really confusing, and I find myself spending a lot of time trying to decipher what the job is actually like. Not to mention that oftentimes the language in the job description is intimidating. Why do they have to use so much jargon? I get it. How can I quickly and easily understand what the job is like from the job description? Skim.
Maybe look for key areas of a job description.
Name those key areas.
If you're gonna let your eye jump around, if you're wanting to know what the job really entails, usually there's a section that's titled role responsibility, right? Better job descriptions have more than just 3 bullet points. Do take the time to read that nice little summary that they put together at the top, because there's usually some good information in there about the company or like the company culture. It is possible that that might be a place where you find some of these, you know, little buzzwords
red
and
flags,
phrases.
green flags,
But just, you know, take a look, see how it sounds, see if it resonates with you. Look for requirements. That'll be a really good indication as to what type of experience that you have that you should talk about or what they're really looking for. Look for those skills. The nice thing is if you're using a platform like Indeed, we do a really great job of breaking up that information for you and collecting a lot of information from companies so that that information is pretty well laid out and easy for you to find.
I also feel like I remember a friend telling me that they would print them out. And if they didn't print them out, you can still do this. Highlighting
Highlighting
things,
a job description.
Highlighting a job description. You could use a green and a red. So you could highlight the green flags and the red flags.
This tip, Gina.
Right? I think I'm not going to do it because I don't read job descriptions. But I think if you're getting confused, you could listen to this episode, listen to the red flags and green flags that we gave, and then use your little highlighter to find those things.
I like bringing it in earlier in the process too, because I usually recommend that as you're prepping for an interview or as you're prepping your resume.
Print it out twice.
But I think it's really good. Well, I think you use a printout one time.
Well, because let's say we do the red flag and the green flag thing. And then maybe we put some notes for the red flags and be like, make sure to ask about this. You know, give yourself the positive affirmations. Pretend you have Jen, the career coach, sitting on your shoulder.
I'm here with you.
And being like, don't forget to ask about that in the interview. And I think it also helps with just the interview that comes up. If you're ready for some more job search advice, make sure to drop a comment with questions for us, any topics you'd like us to cover. Jen wants more of your job search stories, and we also want to share more advice. So we'll see you next time in an episode where we talk about my favorite subject, Jen's least favorite subject. What are dream jobs and are they realistic? Do you have anything to say? No?
No.
I said it all. If you found this advice helpful, make sure to subscribe, rate the podcast, and leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. I'm about to fall asleep, so I need to play a game.
Am I boring you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is the most exciting you've been all day. You only live once. I like to skip around. There's a bug. Sorry. I'll just pretend he doesn't exist. If he touches my face, it's over.